Why do we so often settle for a disappointing breakfast that inevitably turns into a soggy, wet sponge? We all know the ideal standard we are aiming for every morning. We really want that perfectly golden, satisfyingly shattering crispness. But we constantly run into the same physical problem in the kitchen. Wet ingredients naturally break down the structural integrity of dry ingredients. Inside a normal slice of bread, moisture pushes right through the open pores, collapsing the interior structure. But by building a barrier, liquid bounces off the outside, leaving the inside intact. This is your crispy shield. Mastering your morning meal comes down to controlling this exact boundary between wet and dry. Let's start with a thick slice of raw sourdough. Most people make French toast by dropping this soft, porous slice straight into a wet mix of eggs and milk. The bread absorbs everything instantly and turns to mush. To fix this, you simply put the bread in the toaster first, just on the lowest setting. That gentle heat extracts the surface moisture and creates a firm, dry outer shell. When you dip it in the egg mixture now, that dry shell slows down the absorption. The bread takes on the flavor of the custard, but the core stays strong enough to hold its shape in the pan. This exact same logic protects your bread from a heavy scoop of cottage cheese. The toasted surface acts as a rigid plate, keeping the bread perfectly flat and dry underneath all that weight. Heating the bread before adding toppings builds the mechanical strength the slice needs to survive the moisture. Now, consider the classic grilled cheese. It often ends up burnt on the outside, squished flat, and somehow still soggy in the middle. To build a better sandwich, start by grating a block of cheese yourself. Pre-shredded cheese is coated in chemicals to keep it from clumping in the bag, and those chemicals stop it from melting smoothly in the pan. Next, take 2 slices of bread and butter them on all 4 sides. Yes, you read that right. Butter the inside and the outside faces. Place the bread in the pan side by side and toast the interior faces first. This cross-section diagram shows why that matters. As the cheese melts, it releases liquid oils. Because we toasted the inside edges of the bread first, those oils are blocked from seeping into the soft crumb. Once the inside edges are golden, you flip the slices over, pile on your freshly grated cheese, and close the sandwich to toast the exterior. By reversing the cooking order, you build a dual-layered crispy shield. The moisture is trapped entirely within the melting cheese, rather than bleeding into your bread. We can take this structural rule even further and eliminate the bread completely. Here is some spicy chili oil, bubbling in a hot cast iron pan, ready for a new kind of foundation. Instead of laying down a carbohydrate, we scatter a handful of grated cheese right into that hot oil and leave it completely alone. The direct heat pulls the moisture out of the cheese, forcing it to melt, bubble, and eventually fuse into a rigid, crispy sheet. Then a delicate, raw egg drops right onto that bubbling foundation. Even soft cheese can provide structural armor, shielding the fragile egg from the pan while adding a layer of crunch. Every one of these meals relies on a single sequence. Establish a crispy, dry layer before introducing the primary wet component. That sequence gives you French toast that holds its shape, a grilled cheese with incredible stretch, and a fried egg with an unbreakable savory crust. Managing the way heat interacts with moisture turns a lucky breakfast into a consistent, crunchy success. By simply cooking slightly out of order to build a structural shield, you can permanently banish soggy breakfasts from your kitchen.